5 people are dead following a Colorado Springs shooting at an LGBTQ nightclub. The nightclub's called Q, if I'm not mistaken. And this happened last night. 5 people are dead, and this is the latest news from Colorado, coming from the Colorado Times Recorder. 5 people are dead and at least 18 are wounded following a mass shooting at Club Q in Colorado Springs, according to Colorado Springs Police Department. Club Q is one of the Colorado Springs' oldest LGBTQ nightclubs, and it regularly hosts drag shows and community events. According to Lieutenant Pamela Castro, the CSPD public information officer, the first calls regarding the shooting at the club came at 11:56 p.m. on November 19th, last night. CSPD arrived at 12 a.m., and the suspect, identified as 22-year-old Anderson Lee Aldrich, was taken into custody at 12:02. The reason why the apprehension was very quick was because patrons actually stopped the shooter. They lunged at him and they stopped him, is what I heard from original reports. We know 1 or more patrons heroically intervened to subdue the suspect, and we praise those individuals who did so because their actions clearly saved lives, said the Colorado Springs Mayor John Suthers. In a statement posted to Facebook, Club Q wrote, "Club Q is devastated by the senseless attack on our community. Our prayers and thoughts are with all the victims and their families and friends. We thank the quick reactions of our heroic customers that subdued the gunman and ended this hate attack." This is, of course, if you're familiar with mass shootings in the United States of America, how a lot of mass shootings actually end up being stopped. Oftentimes, it's not police intervention, but intervention from the immediate people, brave people that throw themselves and their lives and their bodies at the problem and are able to subdue, not with guns, mind you, but with their hands. Club Q is a safe haven for our LGBTQ citizens, said CSPD Chief Adrian Vasquez. Every citizen has the right to feel safe and secure in our city, to go about our beautiful city without fear or being harmed or treated poorly. I'm so terribly saddened and heartbroken. Vasquez cautioned that the investigation is still in its early stages and noted the FBI is already on the scene and assisting with the investigation. We are also working to identify the victims who have died and notify their families. Vasquez reported that at least 2 firearms were found on the scene and that a long rifle was used in the shooting. Also, not very surprising. On June 18th, Aldrich was involved in a bomb threat on the Lorson Ranch neighborhood, according to a news release from the El Paso County Sheriff's Office. The reporting party said her son was threatening to cause harm with a homemade bomb, multiple weapons, and ammunition. Aldrich was charged with 2 counts of felony menacing and 3 counts of first-degree kidnapping. The Colorado Springs Gazette reported that no formal charges were pursued in this case, which has since been sealed, according to the DA's office. If I were a gambling man, I would like to know if the FBI tried to use this person as a CI. I don't know. It's probably not the case, but this is a lot more detail than what I knew about when I first read on the story. Why does a dude with this kind of history have access to fucking weapons? Well, of course it's gonna happen. You know, the FBI is gonna come out and be like, we were aware of this suspect. You know, that's their. The FBI was on our radars, incoming, okay? Hot. Coming in hot. Just expect it. You know, it always comes. Always there. Oh, shit, we knew about this guy. Fuck. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks, FBI. That's very cool. I love when mass shooting, people that engage in mass shootings are on your radar. It's so sick to know that. I love FBI's radar. It's so fat. It's so beautiful. So this is the guy. Same guy. Suspect arrested in connection to bomb threat that forced evacuations in Lorson Ranch neighborhood is the same guy who ended up, committing a mass shooting at the one of the oldest gay bars in Colorado Springs, which is otherwise a very right-wing conservative town, conservative neighborhood. Colorado is kind of like other parts of the Pacific Northwest, like the Northwestern territories in America have like this unique culture where it's like otherwise blue, population centers are pretty blue, and then you have like incredible enclaves of conservatism, and Colorado Springs is one of those places. Club Q shooting comes after more than a year of conservative politicians and commentators demonizing the LGBTQ community, holding increasingly violent protests against drag events. This summer, Representative Dave Williams and Representative Mark Baisley raised concerns about groomers at Highland Ranch drag show. Lauren Boebert, who in June said, "The left is grooming our kids," tweeted this morning, "The news out of Colorado Springs is absolutely awful. The mourning the victims and their families are in my prayers." Clearly, it's a massive leap to assume that a person who threatened violence and was not punished or shown any type of blowback would ever act on it or feel enabled. Of course not. We would never say that. No one would ever say that, just like we would never say that constantly saying that like gay people are trying to fuck your children, they're trying to groom your children, they're trying to groom your children by just being gay, would ever create some of the most unhinged psychopaths who are going to act out on like violent desires to feel emboldened by, and give them the additional motivation that they needed to finally fulfill that kind of insane desire. We would never say that. I would never say that, just like I would never say that if you fucking were arrested for some crazy shit ahead of time in the past and let go without any sort of scrutiny, additional scrutiny, that you would feel a little emboldened. So, hours after a mass shooting in Colorado at a LGBTQ bar, Chaya Raichik, by the way, libs of TikTok, that fucking gigantic piece of shit, decided to double down and go after a Colorado organization that does drag. This is exactly what she wants: mass violence against LGBTQ people. She is a terrorist. I 100% agree with this, by the way. Like, I cannot co-sign this harder. She is, libs of TikTok is 1,000,000% the most brain broken. Like, her and Matt Walsh are so fucking insane. And the fact that they like are allowed to just, keep whipping up anger and inciting anger towards LGBT people is psychotic to me. I don't know if like this person in particular, this mass shooter in particular, was like a libs of TikTok fan, but I don't care because she wants people like that to keep doing this shit. Like, that's her motivation. There can be no other motivation for this kind of behavior. She is so psychotically obsessed with the existence of like gay people and queer people in general and trans people that like that's all she fucking posts about. Like I said, though, we don't have additional information. This is new stuff. I didn't even know they released the name of the shooter and like the fact that he was arrested before. I did not know that. Yeah, Anderson Lee Aldridge, 22, is now in custody and is currently being treated at a local hospital. He had previously been arrested for making a homemade bomb. He was on our fucking radar, baby. Always. The FBI's radar is so nice. FBI does not have libs of TikTok on its radar. The FBI does not have Matt Walsh on their radar. The FBI does have these guys on their radar all the time. And then they still end up doing shit. Makes you think, how many motherfuckers are on the radar? Look, I don't like talking about this too much, but I've gotten the fucking this person's on our radar call before. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. I know what it's like. Like, hey, someone on our radar. And I'll tell you, it's just weird. It's just literally, they're just like, yeah, there's nothing we can do. So I know from firsthand experience what it's like when the FBI is like, hey, listen, here's our radar. So yeah. So these are the details we know of right now. This is the person who wrote that article, by the way. Lauren Boebert coming out and like saying thoughts and prayers is weird. It's setting the stage for a pretty classic story we've heard time and time again. It could be stochastic terrorism, like fucking psycho right-winger guy finally acts out on his violent desires and violent urges after being fed a healthy diet of insane, psychotic, anti-trans, anti-queer, bullshit from everywhere around. And Lauren Boebert coming out and even speaking out on it is odd. She says, the news out of Colorado Springs is absolutely awful. This morning, the victims and their families are in my prayers. The lawless violence needs to end and end quickly. Yeah, right. She's right. Lawless violence. Bitch, you're responsible. Like, you're personally responsible for lawless violence on your own. Even if we don't cover the anti-LGBT element here, okay? Even if, let's say, this was a lover's quarrel or something like that, we don't know, right? I'm not saying that that's the case. The most likely scenario is that it's not. The most likely scenario is that it's, probably an instance of domestic terror, even though we don't have all the details yet. So even if you eliminate that part of the conversation, okay, even if you eliminate the domestic terror element from this, okay, well, then you're also a psychotic fucking gun nut. This guy was arrested for a bomb threat, and he was still able to fucking easily find a gun, even if he didn't purchase it himself. So you're doubly culpable in that regard. After Trump elevated anti-immigrant and anti-Latino rhetoric, we had the deadliest anti-Latino shooting in modern history, and after anti-Asian hate with COVID in Atlanta, Tree of Life, Emmanuel AME with Buffalo, and now after an anti-LGBTQ campaign, Colorado Springs, connect the dots to GOP. The reason why I don't think we should rush on this narrative, even though it does seem to be the case, is because, like, One, these kinds of takes, unfortunately, never work. Like, people just don't give a shit, right? They don't want to recognize their culpability. They want to continue doing, they want to continue doing bigoted, agitated propaganda to whip up their audiences. And then also on top of that, like, I mean, they're fucking demons on the one side. And also on the other side, like, if it turns out that it's not the case, they use it forever. They literally will constantly bring it back. It's so frustrating. Even though there is like a direct connection, you know what I mean? Here's an eyewitness account with no TOS in the video.
I was dancing on the dance floor. I heard shots fired. I thought it was the music because there were no screams. There was no help, help, nothing like that. Then there were more shots. When I realized what was going on, I ran to the dressing room immediately. There was a customer that followed me, and there was a drag performer, Delusional, who was in the dressing room. I made them lock the doors, and we got down on the ground and cut off the lights immediately. We heard everything. We heard more shots fired. We heard the assailant being beat up by someone that I assumed that tackled him. We heard the police come in. We heard them yelling at him. We heard them saying check certain people because they're critical. We heard everything, and all I can think about is everything. My life. Just everything. Friends, family, loved ones. I came here to celebrate my birthday. Honestly, I was supposed to be in Denver, but I came back a day early, and like, it's sad.
This was your safe space?
Yeah, this was the only LGBTQIA plus space in the entire city of Colorado Springs. It's won awards in Independent Magazine. I got my start here. Like, so many of my friends I met here, and people that I call loved ones, and now it's shattered.
Yeah. The point is that the point of terrorism, not saying that this is an act of terror. We don't have all the details yet. But the point of terrorism is to make people feel less safe in their everyday conditions. That's why I say, regardless of whether or not this was a fucking hate crime, and it does seem like it might be, okay? Regardless of that, though, like, the goal of people like Libs of TikTok is to do that. It is mind-boggling that, like, you have an institution that is so openly and so brazenly doing that. And the guy who owns Twitter is like fucking communicating with them like last week. Boston Children's Hospital was targeted by bomb threats, by the way, for 2 days in a row, including directed threats of the homes of doctors who worked there. Billboard Chris decided to spend all week doubling down attacking BCH. These people like Libs of TikTok, Matt Walsh, Tucker Carlson, Christopher Rufo, who spent all year stoking and inciting violence against LGBTQ people. When the violence happens, they deny it, minimize it, and double down on the hate. They're sick, twisted sociopaths. 100%. Shia Raycheck, owner of Libs of TikTok, is easily responsible for dozens, if not hundreds, of LGBTQ deaths at this point. And Elon Musk just a week ago left them a positive reply. How much longer is she, a terrorist, going to have a platform? How much longer do we have to say that family and friends accepting trans people significantly reduces suicide rates? How much longer do we have to prove that we're just people? How much longer will we be forced to live in fear to be ourselves? Yeah.